This is Joe's Corner 76. I'm going to be discussing the human condition in all its phases. In order to change it, we need to be engaged. O Canada, I weep for thee. Who's going to stand on guard for thee? First, I looked at our military. It's understaffed, underfunded. It's a great organization, but many governments have not honored the commitments to provide our boys with the proper equipment, both in the Navy and the Army and the Air Force. It's a crying shame. We can't defend our interests from sea to sea. We can't have a strong presence in the Arctic to counter the Russian and Chinese military. I suggest you write your members of parliament and say, shame, shame, shame. You've heard the Prime Minister say we have no such thing as a Canadian identity. That's bunk. We've always had a Canadian identity. We've always shown the world our Canadian identity. Let's not let it be diluted. Let's not go with the post-nation state that they're proposing. We do not want to be under global control. We want our nation state to protect our interests. Immigration, it's now unfettered. We've got too many people coming in. We can't absorb them. We don't have the houses. We don't have the economy. It's time that we had a national conversation on immigration. It's time we said that we have to go back to vetting our immigrants so that the number that come in, we can match with our housing and healthcare and social programs. You know, boy, I've heard so much about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm just sick of it. It seems like a great idea, but I ask you to look at what it's really done. You're included if you belong to a certain group, but if you don't, you're excluded. Diversity? No. If you're part of another diverse group that doesn't happen to support the going construction and conversation, you're out. We need just one idea. We're Canadian and we support Canadian values. Rewriting our history. Let's stop rewriting our history. We have a good history and a bad history. Tell everybody about it. But please don't let people who haven't even been raised here tell us that everything we've done is wrong, that we're colonizers. We have made mistakes, but please, we've built a great country. Those that think it's that bad should go back to another climate. Curbing our speech. The government's proposing through legislation to give the CRTC the right to see what we think, what we publish, and what we read. Our universities are controlled by leftists and gutless administrators. It used to be that you could have many ideas used on university and spoken about. Now, anything that's going to hurt or cause fear isn't allowed. Stop now and say, we want free speech restored both in the government and in our schools. Why do we let a small group claim we are racist? Why do we even consider letting them talk about critical race theory and being ashamed of our race? We do not have to be ashamed of anything. We've had some racial problems, but we've worked on them and we're still working on them. And I'm telling you right now, the only thing in Canada that should matter is the content of your character, not the color of your skin. Parents, you have got to stop letting the state raise your children. You've got to stop letting boards of education tell your children when they're 4 or 5, oh, if you think you're a different gender, it's okay. We don't have to tell your parents. You've got to stop teachers presenting their own political and social views. Let them know it's parents who raise children, not the state. I look at Canada's place in the world. We used to be well respected, and we punched far above our weight in terms of economic power. We had some real moral character. Now we're a bloody laughing stock. Aren't you tired of this photo op, Prime Minister? Don't you want somebody that actually stays in Canada and does something for Canadians? The economy. Inflation is out of control. Food costs have increased, housing has doubled, rent has doubled. There's no end in sight. What's the government doing? Proposing to spend more and more. We're going to pay in the long run if we don't stop now. Short pain for long-term gain. Green energy, oh my God. All this government is doing is talking about green energy, green energy, green energy, and the thousands of jobs it's going to produce. Statistics say mostly 1.6% of the employment will be green energy. We don't have a national research and development system like other countries. We don't encourage investment. We have so many rules that a lot of businesses just can't get started. It's small business, not these huge corporations, that provide most of the jobs. Let's get the state off our back. Let's get the gatekeepers gone. You know, Canada is resource rich. In the past, it's provided us with a good living. It's paid for our social programs. And it's allowed us to grow. Why do we want this government or any government to stop us selling our resources to the world? They want them, they need them. We can sell our gas to the world. It reduces pollution because it replaces coal. We need to build pipelines to get it to the people. We need to stop importing foreign oil for our eastern refineries and build pipelines to use Canadian oil. It's about time we stopped wasting our time on just green energy until such time as it is workable. In short, it's time to stop the decline. It's time to change the rod. It's time to bring Canada back to the way we were. And that's controlling our immigration, making our economy sound, using our resources for the benefit of Canadians, changing our attitude so that it goes back to where everyone who hits our shores is clearly told, these are our Canadian values, these are our laws. We do not want terrorists operating in our country as they are now. They walk freely. We want to tell every foreign government, you cannot intimidate Canadian citizens on Canadian soils at all. It's going to stop. You have to tell Canadians that finally we are going to build our military up to the point where it can meet the needs of the future. We're finally going to stop and say, free speech for everyone. If there's any hate, we'll stop it. What I'm concluding with is, oh Canada, oh free Canada, not, oh Canada, I weep for thee. This is Joe's Corner 76, and you can hear me on Spotify and YouTube at Joe's Corner 76. I can be followed on Facebook, X, and Instagram. And by the way, if any of you like this program or any of the others I have on my podcast, please tell your friends and ask them to listen to my YouTube at Joe's Corner 76.